everybody, Steve Schnee here, and you are watching the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I want to talk about the Bluebells for just a matter of moments. I'm not going to dig into their catalog, but I am going to tell you about a 3 CD release that just came out, and I highly recommend it. But of course, don't I always highly recommend stuff on my channel, because I only talk about stuff that I truly, truly love. And if you're a fan of just great guitar pop, whether it's Jangle or acoustic or folk influenced or Beatles influenced, the Bluebells are everything and more. Really incredible group. Now let me go back to how I got into them. I was at Music Market in Costa Mesa in 1983, and I always flipped through the import bins. Now the import bins, I usually went through the miscellaneous sections. Miscellaneous A, B, C, because that's usually where they would put the new releases, new artists, because they didn't usually feel like making a bin card for one group. Or a group with one release. So what happened is I got to miscellaneous B, and I pulled out this 12-inch single by a group called the Bluebells, and it was a single called Kath. Now at this point, I believe it was their second single. I'd never seen their first single before up to this point, a single called Forevermore, but I saw this Kath single, and I've always been adventurous. I've always just wanted to hear something I haven't heard before, so I bought it. And I took it home. I didn't know if it was going to be synth pop, punk. I had no clue whatsoever. But I put it on and I fell in love with it. It was close to jangly guitar pop. I'm a big fan of Scottish pop. People like Orange Juice, Aztec Camera, things like that. This fell right into that sound. Really, really incredible stuff. And then I eventually found the Forevermore single, the 12-inch, and then I started buying the 7-inches, and I started buying singles as they were coming out, such as Sugar Bridge, Young at Heart. Then eventually there was a remix or a reissue of Kath again, with a new cover, different B-sides. So I was buying all this stuff, 7-inches, picture discs, all this kind of stuff. Then they put out an album called Sisters, and I had about half the album already spread out over the singles. So the other half was just more great new Bluebell stuff. But there was, it was a great variety of stuff, because you were just getting straight ahead pop. A couple of songs were really, really produced. A couple of the songs were more organic, more earthy. And then there were some songs that were, very, very English, Scottish folk influenced. And then there's a song called Learn to Love, which had like horn sections. It was very, very produced, very slickly produced. But it was just a great collection of pop songs. And of course, every mixtape I would make for anybody, for a friend or for a lady, I would put a Bluebell song on, whether it was an album track, B-side, A-side, whatever I felt fit into that. The Bluebells affected me very much like The Jam and The Last and Yachts, which are 3 bands that really helped form the way I would approach listening to music and buying new releases. And the Bluebells fell right into that category. It was just great pop. It's a shitty world we live in now. Back then it wasn't so bad. Well, maybe it was, but we just didn't realize it. But me being kind of, look, I had tons of friends, but I was also very insecure and anxious. So I would spend a lot of time under the headphones. And the Bluebells and those other bands I tell you about, Yachts and stuff, they would take me to places that I've never been. Such joyous, happy places. That's what music does to me. I know people like goth, people like metal, people like experimental, minimalist music. That's fine, but I want to go somewhere joyous. The Bluebells music. Sometimes it was sad. Sometimes it was, a little anxious, but it was always joyous. You could tell it was made with love, and their melodies, harmonies, hooks, they just took you to great, wonderful places where you didn't have to worry about the, shit going on outside your window. But after one more single, which was called All I Am Is Loving You, which was just great. It was just, it was more chunky and more guitar heavy than the album stuff. But after that, they just sort of disappeared. They stepped back a little bit, I guess you could say. They went on hiatus because they never officially broke up. But the McCluskey brothers, which was Ken McCluskey and David McCluskey. Ken was the singer. David was the drummer singer. They went off and they formed the McCluskey Brothers. The other main guy in the band was Robert Hodgins, also known as Bobby Bluebell. He was guitar player, vocalist, and he wrote a lot of the songs. Some of the original members were Russell Irvine on guitar and Lawrence Donegan on bass. Now, they had left about partway through making the album, but Lawrence Donegan went on to become the bass player for Lloyd Cole and the Commotion. So he's there during Lloyd Cole's Commotion years. He was originally in the Bluebells. Another member of the Bluebells towards the end was Craig Gannon, who had played with the Smiths and many other artists since then. So there's a great pop lineage here. And, from Glasgow, Scotland, just great stuff. There's so much joy in the music. I don't want to paint the wrong picture of them, but they're just a band that makes you feel good. They could be touching on serious subjects, sad and mournful subjects, but they do it with such integrity and joy that it's hard not to fall in love with this band. Now, a funny thing happened about 1994, I think it was. Levi's did an advert for British TV, and they used the Bluebells' Young at Heart song, which had been released a decade before that. And it just shot the song up the charts. It became a hit single, bigger hit than it was when it first came out. And it thrust the band out there, in the public. But they weren't quite ready to get back together again. So they went out and they did, they went to mime the song or play the song on Top of the Pops and things like that. But they never really officially got back together until like maybe another 15, 20 years later. And then they started playing gigs. And then they came back with a new album just a few years ago called In the 21st Century. And such a great, wonderful band. Now, that first album, Sisters, it came out in the U.S. There was also an EP, a self-titled EP that came out, both of them on Sire Records over here, but nothing came out on CD over here. And in 1993, I think it was about that time, the Japanese released the Sisters album on CD. And for close to 30 years, that's the only way you can get it on CD, was that Japanese one. So I held on to that one tighter than tight. I mean, it was one of my most cherished CDs. In just the last few years, the last 5 years or so, there's been 3 different reissues of that Sisters album. One came out on the Last Night from Glasgow label, and they sort of rejigged the songs a little bit. They added a couple, and they released that, which was incredibly amazing. And they also released vinyl, different colored variants. And then Cherry Red put out a 2 CD version, which had everything that was on the Last Night from Glasgow, plus more, but it was missing one key track for me, and that was the A-side to All I Am Is Loving You, the 7-inch. There was the 12-inch version that had already been on CD before, but that's the one song that was missing. Well, guess what? There is now a 3 CD version of Sisters that just came out, and it is glorious. This box set here contains the 3 CDs plus a bonus DVD. And what you're getting is you're getting the whole album plus even more bonus tracks. You're getting tons more bonus tracks, single mixes, alternate versions. You are getting All I Am Is Loving You, the 7-inch and the 12-inch versions. You're getting all the A-sides, B-sides, US edits, everything. Just a really incredible box. In fact, I'm going to show you this box as I play some music in just a few moments. And the great thing about this is when you order it, I'm going to put a link in the description box below. If you wanted to try to get this, you can probably get it on the market just like this. But, and this might be sold out already, so I'm sorry if I'm bringing this up now. But if you ordered it directly from Townsend Music, you got this limited edition CD single. And it's not a CDR, it's a CD single. And look, it's the cover of that very first 12-inch single I ever bought by the Bluebells. Now, this doesn't have just the songs that were from that 12-inch. It is just an EP, and it only has 5 songs, but they are definitely, I believe most of them are on the box set already. This is just kind of like a little bonus cool thing. And for me, I think it's bonus cool because, like I said, this original single with this cover is how I got into the Bluebells. So I've sat here and I've told you about how much I love this band, and I've told you a little bit about their history and their music. Now I want to play you some of the music. I've gone through and I picked little snippets of songs from the Sisters album. And like I said, this is the version that I recommend, obviously, because it's 3 CDs and a DVD. But there is a single disc version out there and a double disc version out there. And probably out in the wild, you're going to be able to find the vinyl. Maybe here in the U.S., you're going to be able to find it used. But I recommend do anything you can to track down the music of the Bluebells. They also, like I said, on the Last Night from Glasgow label, they had an album called In the 21st Century. And Robert, Ken, and David are still out there making music. I'm so happy about it. Just incredibly gifted and wonderful band, and this world is a better place now that they've come together again to make more music for us all. So why don't you sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side.
Young at heart, young at heart, I've been falling down again, falling down again, falling down. I've been falling down again, falling down again, falling down. Cat, oh, it takes a lot to make me laugh. Oh, you let me up the garden path. Oh, it takes a lot to make me laugh. Everybody is somebody. Everybody is somebody. Everybody is somebody. Take me over Sugar Bay. Let me cross the river. If you build up what you want, it could stand for longer than a day. Surely it will stand now. Surely it will stand. All I ever said was I don't care what they say now. All I ever said was there's no price I won't pay now. I'm in love, surely that's good enough for you. Too much to hope for, that much is it. Will she always be waiting? Will she always be waiting? She always be when we were young, oh so young. We had such dreams that it could be forever yours, forever mine, forever yours, forever and ever mine. All I am is loving you, baby. All I am is loving you, baby. All I am is loving you, baby. Is loving you, baby. How come I love them now? How come I love them more? When all I wanted to do when I was old was to walk out the young at heart. You're so young at heart. You're so young at heart.
Well, that's it. I hope this inspires you to check out the music of the Bluebells. They are so worth your time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.